motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, we need to announce 2 vacancies on the Codes Enforcement Adjustments and Appeals Board, Daryl Alexander and Ken Bumpus. Also, Commissioners, if there's no objection, I'd like to, 2 items, 2 vacancies that we need to announce that took place after this was mailed out. We'll need to announce a vacancy on the Road Board and School Board Redistricting Committee of Coy Young, who is serving as a representative of the unincorporated areas. So we're going to announce that tonight. Also, David Nipper has sent in a letter of resignation for the Beer Board, effective immediately. There's a copy of that letter. So we need to announce a vacancy on the Beer Board. We do have 2 alternates in place for that committee, so they'll be filling in until we can appoint them at our next meeting.
He could serve on that board as well as the school board, but I guess chose not to, correct?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I think the letter states because of scheduling conflicts, et cetera.
Right.
All right. Next, we need to fill 2 vacancies on the Community Care Board. I believe we received 2 applicants, one from Mr. Greg Lyles and another from Mr. Gene Patterson. We also, Commissioners, you have in your packet or received via email a letter from the Community Care Board of Directors recommending the reappointment of both the applicants. Would either one of the applicants like to address the committee? Mr. Lyles or Mr. Patterson?
Just want to take this opportunity to thank you for the time that I have served on the Community Care Board. I feel like that I have been a benefit to that board and being able to give back to the community. I do have a genuine interest in the elderly and their care, so I would ask your support in continuing my service on that board.
Thank you, Mr. Lyles. Do we have a motion or any questions or any comments for the applicants? We have
Motion to approve by acclamation.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And Mr. Patterson and Mr. Lyles, you'll be voted on by the full commission on August 16th. Thank you all for your application.
Appreciate it.
Next, on the agenda, we have a wheel tax sticker elimination. Ms. Crowell, if you'd like to come up, and I don't know, Mayor, if you need to, or anybody else needs to. Ms. Crowell. Commissioner, this is something that we have already passed, but I think she wants to get some clarification and seek some more, I guess, some further clarification from us.
Yes. When we originally came up with the first resolution to amend our private acts, well, when legislation looked over it and there was a conflict with the public act versus what we were asking for, the study that you all asked me to present to you, they asked for it as well. So they had to change the public act in order for the counties across the state that was no longer an issue in a decal were actually in compliance, I guess. It was just an oversight. Somehow it was a contradiction is what happened in the verbiage. So now we're back here. That public act has been changed, which gives the freedom to each county to if they issue a decal or not. So the county attorney's office has come up with a new resolution, which just pretty much says that we're doing away with issuing a wheel tax decal.
Still having a wheel tax, just no decal.
You still pay the fees.
Right.
We just don't issue a sticker.
Does it say anything about who the enforcement in that part?
No, that's not under my office anymore.
I know, but and I've been talking to the sheriff.
Yeah, it doesn't address that.
It doesn't even address
that would be a whole
who
different situation.
Okay, so we're gonna have to come back at some point and do something about the enforcement.
Well, if they come into the office to renew their state portion, they're automatically going to pay their county portion.
thought the enforcement was backed over into the sheriff's department
It
as
is.
far as, instead of one person being out there, then you've got the whole, deputy force, I guess.
I think there's some issues in the private act as far as enforcement.
Oh, really? Okay.
Now, that I'm not aware of. But I can tell you though, that, there's an officer over at the sheriff's department when the citizens contact us about people that are violating the wheel tax sticker, paying that fee, you know, we still have an officer that we contact and give him that information.
It's more simple, and we're saving, what was it?
We're saving over 13,000 a year.
Well, this is just ratifying what we've already decided
Yeah,
to do.
you've already
Right.
decided to do
Yeah.
this by private act,
Yeah.
and that was not necessary since they changed the public act to make it correct.
I'll make a motion that we still approve and send it on to full commission.
Motion approved, we have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
But we do need to make sure on this enforcement part, as long as we're clear on it, I mean, we do need to make sure of that.
Public safety gonna take it up.
Okay, good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have the cultural arts tax exemption resolution.
Mr. Beatty didn't come. Let me help with this then, okay. You have on your iPad there, what you have is the resolution that was passed on June the 16th, I believe. Now, if you recall, we had to pass a special resolution that gave them our permission to be tax exempt, to apply for tax exempt status. You gave that permission on June the 16th. They then filed their application with the State Board of Equalization, and they were granted tax exempt status effective that date. If you remember, the transfer of ownership of that property was done, I believe, back in 2008. So it was the intent for them to have the ownership of that property and to be tax exempt even then. But we didn't know, and they didn't know either, that you had to go through this special process. And it's only allowed for cultural kinds of organizations to get that special permission, which was granted in June of 2000 and, well, what year was it? 11. All right, saying all that to say, somehow in 2008 or 9, they didn't get billed for property taxes, we don't believe. So there wasn't a problem until somebody discovered that they didn't have their tax exempt status, and I guess the property assessor, and they were sent a tax bill for 2010 and 11. And the State Board of Equalization cannot make that tax exemption effective except by Board of Commission approval. So what we want to do, what we want to ask you to do, is to take that application that you currently see there and put language into it, and we haven't done that, that would allow for the effective date of this to be January the 1st of 2010, even though someone said, well, we'll make it 2008. Somehow there's been no taxes billed to them for those 2 years, but there have been taxes billed, according to Mr. Beatty, starting January of 2010. So we'd like for you to give permission to allow the structure of that resolution to be changed so that you would be granting tax exempt status to that organization effective January the 1st, 2010.
That makes sense. So basically, we have, by passing this resolution in 2011, we've given them tax exempt status based on June 16th,
Yeah.
2011.
We didn't know we had to do it effective any particular date.
Right.
I really believe the intent was for them to be a tax exempt status,
All
period.
along. Right.
When we gave over the ownership of the property, we knew they were a tax exempt, a 501c3 organization.
And when was you said that was given over to them in 2008?
It was 2008, at least that's sort of what's indicated on that application. I think that's when they actually took ownership.
Well, if we, or the property assessor's office sent them a bill for 2010-11, what's another couple of years, them sending a bill for 2008, 2009, if we don't date it back to?
But that's maybe a valid point. I don't think they'll unwind that and do that, but if they did, you're probably
I
correct.
just assume go ahead and clean it all up and go back to
Because
2009.
in their application, and it appears that they have indicated that that's when they actually took control of the property. June of 26, 2008 is when they said they took it, so if you want to make the resolution effective all the way back to June 26, 2008, that's when the ownership apparently transfer occurred.
Well, I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions about the motion? We're just making what we thought we were doing and just clarifying it to go back to where they took over ownership of the property. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we have Chief Administrative Officer. And Stevenson, or, does Lisa need to come? You want to come? Do you want to come? It's up to you.
You have a hard copy, but you also have it on your iPad as well. After all the research was completed for various other counties that have this type of position, we compiled all the information together and went over everything to make sure we weren't duplicating anything, and came with a hard list of items that we feel like that we would like for this role to complete in Rutherford County government, in assistance to the mayor with some of the things that he needs on a day-to-day basis and special functions. What I would like to happen, and I've brought copies to put in the other commissioners' boxes, what I would like to happen, and the reason I gave you a hard copy was for you to take it and read it, look at it. If you have any questions, suggestions, ideas, please call me, email me, stop by, whichever means that you want, and let me know those by August 20th, because I would like to have all those things considered and then recompiled for your next meeting in September, if that would be possible. The cover letter on the top is a memo of just some recommendations based on the posting of the position, interviewing, and the confirmation of the position with the steering committee and then with the full commission. And then there's some additional suggestions for the positions that we thought would be necessary based on this being a position that is the assistant to the mayor. Just some ideas and suggestions for your consideration as well.
Well, that's what we're getting ready to talk about. The next one is August 30th or September 5th, so we're basically looking not too many days from now, so we need to get through this and get the questions, like you said, asked, and thoughts.
Is 2 weeks enough
Put
time for
down.
you guys to do that? I mean, the 20th is 2 weeks from today. Would that be enough time for you to
I think
review
so.
it? Okay.
I think so.
The minimum qualifications, it talks about the bachelor's degree required in area management, finance, business administration, or business law. Master's degree preferred in public administration, business administration, or business law, with 5 to 10 years experience in corporate or government background. So it does talk about or business law.
Or, I mean, it's multifaceted. I mean, anything that's in the business realm, somebody who has experience in management, in the business, those type things, because it may have some supervisory roles in it. It'll, definitely have some key elements that will help with the mayor's position. So it would need to be somebody that has, some letter writing skills, some speech making skills, financial skills,
It
those
needs to be
type things.
somebody
It's
qualified.
kind of well-rounded. I think somebody put it, what is it? Master of none, something of.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Master of none, there we go.
Yeah.
So it kind of needs to be a well-rounded person and
So we're calling it the deputy to the mayor, is what the title, so to speak, is right now?
that's what we think. We looked at various different titles. I mean, there's
Oh, I understand.
several different titles, but just looking at some of the job descriptions that we had and some of the other roles, we felt like this was a good title for
I'm
this
sorry,
position.
Commissioner, I jumped in right at the time.
Oh, that's fine, Commissioner Sandlin. The salary is not addressed in here, which is fine. I've just,
Well, we had already addressed that in
Mhm.
the budget process, so I just didn't put it in there because I thought you had already addressed it.
I have no objection to what you did at all. I think that was fine. But I understand Ms. Nolan was guessing, and a good guesser she is. But $90,000 a year, is that? 80?
80. The estimate was 2/3 of the mayor's salary.
Okay, and you put 60,000, the budget, you and the budget committee put
Right.
60,000 into the budget.
Because it wasn't a full year.
Right.
Yeah, for
Thinking that it would be.
roughly 9 months, 8 or 9 months salary. Or when we have to firm that up,
Right.
a year salary, we may want more, we may want less, I don't know what the committee will want, but
Well, it wouldn't
shouldn't that
a-
be on here?
Typically, we don't, in this type role, if we're doing a percentage of the salary, then it would be a set salary, and it would only change when the mayor's salary changed. So if the mayor got a cost of living increase, this position would get a cost of living increase. Otherwise, it would stay the same until that occurred. So.
Well, that's done by the state.
Correct.
So
So when the
That's
state
that
raised.
comes, yeah.
It would just tie to
raised-
that.
Yeah.
So there's no need for a mention of this in here, well, that's good.
I mean, we will put that on the job posting just to give.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want somebody expecting that it's gonna be a number that it's not. So we will put that on there, but I just didn't address it in here because I thought that had been addressed already. So I apologize for that.
Then again, we could do that differently, where
Right.
it doesn't tie in with the state's thing, advancement.
Or you could have a range.
Yeah, we could-
2/3
Yeah.
to 3/4.
Evidently, you were satisfied with the postings, nothing out of state here particularly.
The thought process behind that is because it is county government, and the feeling is that they would need to have some idea of how Rutherford County operates or a governmental entity operates
In Tennessee.
in Tennessee. And,
Wouldn't stop somebody though from nothing, which is fine.
no, it would not stop
Yeah.
somebody, no. But the feeling is that we want this person to be a resident of Rutherford County. I mean, each
Or
of
be-
you
or-
can't
or
run
be-
for office without being a resident in your.
Or become a resident
Or
of
become a
Rutherford County.
resident, right. The goal would be that they would be a resident of Rutherford County.
We said openly, and I probably don't know how to word this correctly, but we didn't want this to be a vice mayor, as soon as the mayor comes out, they're running for mayor, and then they get another administrative assistant or mayor, whatever we call it, and then they jump in. There's nothing to hold them that legally wise, though, as far as if that person wanted to run for mayor, then they could. But it's the point in here that we didn't really want that situation happening. We wanted a professional here to help in that capacity across the board. But I don't know if we can legally say.
Well, we put in a suggestion. The suggestion was that there may be somebody that comes into this role that would make a really good mayor.
Sure,
I mean,
that's
you wouldn't
what I'm
wanna-
saying. It could-
You wouldn't wanna
yeah.
kick somebody out. If that ends up being something that person chooses, that they
Mhm.
think that that's an option, that's what one of the suggestions are. It says if the appointed designee decides to run for office of county mayor, then they must be placed on administrative leave without pay. Just wouldn't be right to be in that office, running the day-to-day, and then running against someone, or if they're running against the current mayor, you wouldn't want them in the office together. That would be odd. So that's why that was a
Yeah.
suggestion in there, that if that did occur, I don't think.
This was our expectations up front.
Up front.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea, because you can't legally tell a person
They
that,
can't run.
that he or she can't run for a political office. I mean, that's
And so
violating
this
their.
gives them it gives us something that we could do that would be fair and consistent to everybody, and they would know that up front. I
And
mean,
like I said, I hadn't read all these, and I think y'all done a good job here. We're probably not gonna have too many different, things to ask or to mention, but what about boards and stuff? You'll probably say this in here somewhere, but the mayor is always gonna be on that board, or he could be, or he or she could be designated in the mayor's position for whatever board.
Correct.
Okay, what about, chairing the committee? Then it would, the option there of the full commission, chairing the full
Well,
commission.
you've already got
Okay.
your,
Okay.
you've already got
That's
it in place.
statutory.
Okay.
We couldn't,
Yeah.
can't delegate that.
And also in the absence of the mayor, say, you know, something happened and the mayor was no longer able to serve the remainder of the term, that would be something
that's the-
that would still be under the legislative body. That would not be, this
Or we
person
have
would
the
not roll
chairman
into
pro
it.
tem position
Right.
in for
Correct,
that, and
right.
then we can
Right, then you designate,
Of course,
so.
I can always be, we can elect
You
a
take
county
it.
commissioner as chair of the court, you know, at any time, but
But as
we've
far
so
as the-
chosen in a number of years to have the mayor or county executive way back there to be the chairman of the commission.
Well, I believe this is right with any elected office. If something happened to them and they were gone, isn't it the responsibility of the commission to appoint the person to,
Only their responsibility.
Right.
right,
Right.
to fulfill that term until the next election, right?
That's right.
But we don't do that when we elect a vice mayor in the first part of the terms.
Wait a minute, the vice mayor.
You mean
Chairman
chairman pro
pro
tem?
tem.
Yeah, Chairman Pro Tem.
Yeah, the chairman pro tem
Yeah.
serves in the absence of the,
Mhm.
but they're not, that doesn't appoint them to the.
Okay, that's
To
my
the
question.
Mayor.
Day-to-day operation.
Okay, that's my question. So the commission then would have to do that.
Yes.
Appoint
And
somebody
it
to do that.
could be, but would not automatically be this person. It could be.
Right.
It could be, but does not automatically, you're right.
Right.
I foresee this position as deputy to the deputy mayor or whatever, as an administrative role where the county mayor is still the chief executive officer of the county, but I see this person as an administrative role to help on the day-to-day operations. If this person has a legal background, that they can give legal advice. If they have a finance background, they, you know, help out where he may be needing to concentrate more somewhere else, and this other person can take up the slack and some of the other stuff. You know, working with the finance director or the HR person or some of the department heads, it's kinda how I see this, but when it comes down to it, the county mayor will have the final say-so as county mayor. That's how I foresee this position operating. If someone has something different or disagrees, I'd be more glad to, you know.
I agree. I think I envision that there are so many different areas that the mayor is responsible. You know, there's a finance portion and it's a day-to-day management part, and there's purchasing, and then there's, you know, somebody does have to have some kind of a, you know, if you don't have a legal background, you certainly get one by training of just doing the job, of
Right.
having to learn the laws and be able to look at laws and just doing that whomever fills this position, and if you've got a wide range, somebody's gonna have strengths in an area
Mhm.
that, because of their strengths, they'd be able to take that piece off the plate.
Right.
When you read this job description, they have prepared this in such a way that it gives huge flexibility in that it describes everything imaginable that this person can do or will do. That doesn't mean all of
May
that will
do.
happen.
Right,
Right.
right.
May do.
Right.
But they have made this broad enough to allow for the whole range of functions to be accomplished by this
And-
person, but only at the direction of the mayor.
Exactly.
Right.
And I mean, that person, if the mayor doesn't want them doing X, Y, Z, that
don't
person's
do
not
it.
gonna do X,
This
Y,
gives them
Z.
no authority to do anything except it allows them to do this, and they can be expected to do this if we so choose to suggest that
Right.
and request that they do it.
And their skills need to be that so that they could,
Right.
you know, so.
Is it the recommendation that the mayor makes a recommendation to steering or the board of commissioners or both?
Both.
It's-
Both.
Both.
And so then the board of commissioners will affirm his appointment. Will the deputy serve at the pleasure of the mayor or? Okay. So during his term or her term, or after an election, that could change or stay the same.
Good.
This is rather lengthy, is that in there? Is that in there?
It is.
Okay.
It's the last sentence of the purpose of classification.
What page?
First page.
That's the-
This is an appointed position and serves at the pleasure of the mayor. That's exactly what it is.
Where is it again?
Right.
Last sentence of first page, last sentence of purpose of classification, that
Thank you.
top paragraph.
With our other committees, we can nominate someone from the floor or in here, or someone that doesn't even fill out a form until that day. I assume that we're not gonna be doing that on this, are we?
No, be a posting period, just like all of our other positions, be a deadline. We'll post it when the deadline's over. The only time a late application is ever considered is if none of the other applicants have the minimum qualifications. So if no applicants have minimum qualifications and the late one does, then that's the only time they're considered, but that's not happened.
So if the mayor recommends someone to the steering committee, and the unlikely event that the steering committee does not approve that person, he start over?
The way I foresee it is, I don't see that the steering committee, if the mayor interviews and whatever, and makes recommendations, I don't see that the steering committee can make the change. It's just like the deal when he appoints someone to like the CUD board. That's his appointment.
Well,
Or if he appoints a director, that's his appointment, or that position's appointment. That's the way I see it now. Is
not
that-
arguing with you, but why is the mayor requesting confirmation? It says right here.
As a matter of courtesy, if somehow this committee and this commission didn't think that we had made a reasonable recommendation, I really think we probably should move forward with the appointment.
I don't think the commission needs to be involved with the hiring and firing myself. It should be somebody that's loyal to the mayor, but the mayor trusts.
I think we all agree with that. I just don't want to do anything necessarily that would make you think I'm just, even on the planning commission appointments, you have to confirm those, even though they're the mayor's appointment.
It's
a
basically courtesy.
confirmation. It's a
Courtesy.
courtesy confirmation.
Basically saying that you're okay with.
It's not an advising consent, it's just a
It's
confirmation.
a confirmation.
Just for,
A confirmation in the mayor's judgment is what it really boils down to. And along with the folks that's gonna help us interview these people.
just
Well,
for-
it's above table, it's working with everybody, it's open, it's what you
Right.
should do, so, I mean, I like that.
I just didn't want it to come
Yeah,
out that
yeah.
the commission thinks, well, okay, well, if we disagree with what the mayor said, we're fixing to change it.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's a confirmation.
right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just have a question about that. I mean, I know we do that all the time, and hopefully it wouldn't be an issue, but say 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what happens if the commission doesn't confirm the mayor's appointment? It's never happened, to my knowledge, before, but what would happen in that case?
I think we probably need to go ahead and draft a resolution, and I don't guess we've done this, that would lay out the terms of, some of these terms that's on this first page right here, and the commission adopt that. Adopt the fact that it is an appointment by the mayor, that serves at the pleasure of the mayor to be confirmed by. And once you do that, then you could always undo that resolution, but I think we should go ahead and.
Well,
do
like
that.
I was saying, you know, the next mayor, he or she may not want this assistant.
May not.
Or deputy, or whatever we call it. And-
What?
You
and
mean
so
that particular one or the position
May
at
not
all?
want it at all.
Oh, okay.
And then-
Just because maybe that we haven't done it in so many years that, you know, they could run on that platform. It's a scenario, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
but it, you know, hey, we don't need that position, I
Well,
can
the
do it,
position's
and then.
not required by the Board of Commissioners, it's at the option and the pleasure of the
That's
mayor.
what we were saying a while ago, so you could,
If he or she chose not to fill that position, they wouldn't have.
well, and
to.
this person needs to know that too.
Until
I
after
mean,
they
'cause
get in
they're-
the job
Well,
for
it
6
is, I
months.
mean,
It's
she's
like,
got, it's at the pleasure of the
Yeah, right,
mayor, and the
right.
mayor might please them not to have anybody there.
Well, you know, in the olden days, the elected official comes in and cleans house and puts all their people in there. You know, you can't do that now, you know?
Well, there's laws that prevent that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
and you
To a
shouldn't be
certain
able to do
level.
that, to a certain level, yeah.
Yeah, and this type
So-
position, the law, this would be at that level of position that it could be eliminated without a wrongful discharge or something
Right.
like that, so.
I just hate for somebody to come in here and, man, this is where I'm retiring right here, you know, and the next mayor comes in, I don't need this position.
I think.
Or I want somebody else.
They need
I
to
think
know
they
that
will
coming
know.
into it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the expectations are.
Great, I think y'all done a good job here. We
I just want to point out, yeah, I think they're doing a great job, and this has been a really good discussion. I just want to point out, though, as I look at the memo, I'm reminded that the full commission talked about it, and I remember Commissioner Farley was very vocal about that, and several of us was definitely on board. And then I know the budget committee talked about it, and I know they put money, we all put money in the budget for this position. However, I just want to point out, this committee has not discussed this position until tonight. I'm just curious, is there anything, I just want to make sure that we don't need to do something where we're approving going forward with this position before we do all this, unless this is where we're approving going forward with this. Does that make sense? I mean, based on the discussion we've had, I hadn't heard anybody speak in opposition to it, but we don't have any kind of formal, besides the budget committee and the full commission approving money for it, we don't have any formal recommendation to start this position.
I haven't heard any opposition to it at all, although it may be out there, but all of us did get a memo from Ms. Nolan about this, and and it was, I think, also, in the newspapers, that, the money that gone into the budget committee did this, for the future, for us to look at it in the future, and not a soul brought it up on the day we confirmed the budget. Nobody said a word. And, I thought that was kind of meant, sort of, that we were, in general, kind of, you know, for this kind of thing with details to be worked out later, which is kind of what we're doing.
When you approve that budget and you put a position in there, that position can be filled.
Okay.
Now, we didn't have the job description written, and we didn't have some of these mechanics about, how we're going to get this person, but, I think you do have a right to have any discussion about those pieces of it. It's not that you're approving the position, you're just approving the process and the description of how we're going to actually obtain that person that's already been approved.
So just for clarity, there's no need for this committee or the full commission to approve further this position?
I don't
As
think
far
it
as.
is.
We put any-
I just, for clarification's sake, want to make sure that we don't need to do anything
Well,
else.
Well, you know, go ahead.
I mean, this county has gotten, like, in the rural area, what is there, about 120, 130,000 population. That's not counting the city of Murfreesboro, city of Smyrna, the city of Laverne, and the town of Eagleville. This county has gotten so big, and I know Mayor Burgess, the type of person he is, he does a good job every day. He's gonna do what he needs to do to operate this county. There's times whether he or whoever the next mayor is, they're gonna need some help. And the job of the CEO or the county mayor of a county this size, one person can't do it all. And, you know, how many department heads is under your direction, Mayor?
Oh, about 20.
About 20. The span of control,
More than that.
I think it's more than that.
More than that, I think there's about
That count again.
37.
the span of control for leadership, any leadership position, and I come from the fire service, span of control on an effective leadership is 5 to 1. You can only manage 5 people effectively. Mayor Burgess is managing 37 people effectively. You know, so that position needs some, I mean, I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but this county's gotten big enough where it needs a deputy to the mayor to take care of the things that he needs to have taken care of, that he can maybe give up, let him handle this and take care of more high priority stuff that needs his immediate attention. And, I think it's needs to happen. I think the citizens out there want it. I think, to have an effective county government, even more effective, I think this would be an asset.
I would submit we're probably at that point before Mayor Burgess ever took off.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, I agree.
yeah.
I'm not sure where we are on this. Commissioner Coggin, Commissioner Sandlin really expressed this better than I did, but I won't go back to this mayor shall request confirmation again. I'm a little, but that's there, and as long as that stays there, and maybe it should, somebody's gonna expect a result. So let's do exactly what Commissioner Coggin said, and just look ahead 10, 12 years. Some commission, somebody, at some point, is gonna say, no, I don't like that person. This is politics. We all know that. They don't like the mayor for whatever reason. I'm not gonna prove that. And they'll get a group together that'll fight it all the way through the commission floor and not confirm that. I'd hate to see that happen. I would probably take no part in such a thing, but it'll happen eventually. Beg pardon? I want to know again, hear me out, if the confirmation from the steering committee is not forthcoming, what do we do at that point? Now, the mayor sitting down here and he can say, well, he would withdraw it and punt.
The only way I see it is if there's 11 votes to take it out of the budget to do away with the salary,
It's gone.
it's gone. But if the mayor appoints this person, and we can agree or not, but as long as it's in the budget, it's his appointment, or whoever's appointment that's in that position is kind of the way I see it. Now, unless 11 commissioners get together and say, we're fixing to take it out of the budget.
That's what I'm referring to, Commissioner. Now, not now. I don't think that would ever happen
Right.
today. Certainly not with Mayor Burgess, I don't believe. But it could happen at some point. Somewhere. I just want to kind of have it written down, we've got a plan. Am I off base?
That's
This
the reason I-
person's gonna have a lot of power, whoever who it is, as far as answering to the mayor. I mean, Murfreesboro City Council, they set up the councilman. I know on the city manager, the structure of that. Not to,
But I don't see this as, and I understand what you're talking about, but I don't see this position as being like the city manager. The city manager, in technically, in other words, for the county, is the county mayor, and he's elected.
right.
The city manager of the city of Murfreesboro is not elected. If you don't like the city manager of Murfreesboro, you gotta get your 4 votes and get 4 people elected to the city council to get that person gone. But,
That's a good point.
I mean,
And you have to get 11. I mean, right now, we don't. It'd be up to the mayor.
Yeah, but I think we go back to, we passed, the Board of Commissioners is asked to pass a resolution that sets this position in place. That, in a position that serves at the pleasure of the mayor, and you put in that language that his appointment will be confirmed. That's the same language we've got on, really, the mayor can't do anything without commission approval.
right.
Nothing can be done without Board of Commission approval. So I think if you get that put in place, they could unwind that resolution. Just like you can change the zoning resolution that allows the mayor to appoint the planning commissions. You could change that process, but until you do that, he or she still appoints.
Just want to answer a question. That's like, I'll just use the CUD board for example, because I know that's the mayor's appointment.
That's part of their charter. It's in that charter on the way, and that's the way that organization was structured from the beginning.
And we can't change it.
You can't change that. The mayor still has that appointment to
And
be confirmed by the commission, because the mayor can't do anything all by himself or herself.
And the planning commission appointments, that's your appointment, or that position's appointment. And all it does is confirm it, and we can't change your appointment. All we're doing is confirming, acknowledging who you're wanting to appoint to that position.
you have to change the underlying document, whether it's the CUD charter or the zoning resolution of the county to
Yeah.
change those two things.
And I foresee this here along those same,
But
guidelines.
it would be your document to change. The zoning resolution is your document to change, if you so choose to. But
Yes, that would be, have you write a resolution and send to each of you.
Well, when you request the confirmation, that implies to me that the mayor wants an answer, yes or no,
Yeah.
or discussion. So if we're not gonna have a discussion, then he needs to just notify us who he's gonna appoint. And we not.
So then it
And
would
take a
be-
drink of our Diet Cokes. That's fine, Mr. Mayor.
If he was to, say for example, I'll use planning commission director. If, say Doug DeMasi was to go somewhere else, and he needed to hire another planning director,
It wouldn't bring it to you.
we'll bring it to us.
That's
we
correct.
don't have to confirm that.
That's what I'm saying, let's do it that way.
Do it like any other employee.
Yeah, I'm just saying, at least open it up for discussion.
We could still introduce them to the steering and to the full commission, but not ask for confirmation. I mean, it's not a requirement.
It might be a little
That was just
different.
something because the role was, I mean,
This
second
position
in
may be a
command
little
is
different
pretty-
where this person comes to the committee meetings more than the mayor does maybe or something. I don't know. And so he'll be working or she'll be working with us more hand on hand per committee and through the whole thing instead of like the planning commission is basically, we'll be just, working
It's
planning
an
commission. So this would be
independent
more
organization
working
that-
with the county commission as a whole.
I'm just using an
On
example.
a monthly, weekly basis or whatever. So, I like it being set up this way. I don't.
Well, we still have a month or 3 weeks or so to look at it, think about it.
and that
We
could be
will
suggested.
talk
Yeah.
with the county attorney about this. I mean, it is this person's not serving as a voting member of any organization, CUD or the planning commission or otherwise. This person is simply an extension of the mayor. And he doesn't have a vote anywhere, he or she. So technically, likely you don't have to confirm.
You might wanna consider if it didn't have to come to the steering for approval or full commission for approval, which I'm fine with, maybe we do add 1 or 2 more commissioners to the interview committee. Might just kinda give some more.
I always like it coming through the committee process. It's just more people. I think it helps the mayor with confirmation or their thoughts process or their choice or their chosen person, and it just and it's open. I mean, it's and we know what's going on as a county commission.
Yeah.
Because we represent a lot of people here, all 21 county
Yeah.
commissioners, and we need to know what's going on.
Well, I don't-
And I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah.
We definitely, I think all of us like the committee process, and we'd love for that, but if there's no abject reaction to a non-confirmation, then what's the point in doing it?
And I guess the same question could be asked, why are we even discussing this?
Right.
We'll just come up with what we want, the mayor will, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
And so we can take it to any extreme.
Well, and the same thing, the
Yeah.
same thing's true, we can
One
agree
way or
with
the
this.
other,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I like it being done the way it's
I don't
being
have a
done.
problem, and I brought it up a while ago as an example on, like, the plan director. I think it's a good idea. And it's courtesy through the mayor's office to bring it to us on those appointments and just, us acknowledging, and basically giving the mayor the support and acknowledging that we're behind that endorsement for that person.
Not only that you're aware that
Oh,
those
and we're
appointments
aware
are
of it.
that are happening.
I mean, I don't have a problem with him bringing it to us and saying, this is the person here that I want to put in this position, and I'd appreciate if you would confirm my nomination for this person.
It should say, instead of mayor shall request, mayor will bring forward. Shall request means you're asking for permission, bring forward for confirmation, where you're still confirming, either way. Play on words, but
Semantics.
yeah, exactly.
How about mayor shall present?
New
the
candidate,
applicant.
new employee.
Mayor shall
we could skip the confirmation from the steering, go straight to the Board of Commissioners, which is what we do on
A lot of
planning.
times we do
Yeah.
appointment, yeah. Just announce
Check that out.
appointment of judicial commissioner, that may be a conflict.
Well, I like what you got right here, but we're coming back, either this next meeting, the 30th or the 5th. And we'll tie it all up in a nice neat little package then.
Okay.
I think we need to remember too, and Commissioner Black pointed this out a minute ago, that the city of Murfreesboro has, the city manager is a different way of doing things, of course. But that person carries out duties all the time, administrative duties, and that person's not elected. It's appointed by the city council, which is kind of kind of what we're talking about here. And I was talking to Williamson County the other day, and their steering committee meets one time a year, once. And they do appointments, set up the committee system, and that's it till the following year. And all committees, all boards and commissions and so forth, that the county commission appoints, either about half of them come directly to the mayor's office and he recommends to the commission, or they come directly to the commission floor that night, which I think our way is much better.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't tell them that. I doubt if they cared. You know, what I said, but I think that there are different ways of
Sure.
skinning this cat.
Sure.
And so maybe whenever we meet again, we can discuss other ways, maybe.
It'll also give us a chance to hear back from our constituents.
Absolutely.
How they feel about it. And, I feel comfortable.
Question about, at the end of the list of purposes or functions, drafts and examines contracts and legal documents as requested by county departments or agencies. I think it would be wise to just remove that altogether.
Which one?
It's at the very end of it's on page 3, right above additional functions.
That would be kind of like we do, our RFPs, our request for proposals don't go through the county attorney's office. So when a department writes, that's the kind of things that we're talking about. It's not really like a contract to bind us something, it's more of,
Under his purchasing role.
purchasing role and stuff like that, that's what that's talking about. It's not talking about, I know where you come from, I guess I could change the verbiage to say request for proposals, but there's lots of things that the mayor approves that, or has to review that don't go to the county attorney's office every time. And if it is something that we do have a question about, we do take it there for validation, before we make a final. It's just kind of a rough draft before you get it into that final phase. But
I think that position would need to have that capability.
to write an RFP, yes.
Yeah.
And to review one. To look at, we do, services even like with, of course, the county attorney reviews that at the end of the day, but just say like our on-site clinics and stuff, a lot of the things that go in through those things, the county attorney, Melissa Stinson, does the initial draft of all that stuff. Then the mayor reviews it, and then we send it there for the final. It's kind of like you wanna clean it up as much as you can before you take it to the attorney's office for the final. Yes, this word should be shall or thou, or will or may, or those type things. That's really what it's talking about.
Nowhere in there have we said approve.
Yeah, it just says drafts and examines, but not approves.
You won't be circulating at all the need to use the county attorney. But we can narrow that
And-
definition there. Like I said, they've got this broad enough to allow about anything to happen. And we can make it more narrow.
And attends various legal proceedings and hearings as assigned. We do unemployment hearings, we have hearings,
Sure.
animal control has bites and they go in, and there's times where there are, things that happen in our planning department where somebody needs to be present just to hear what's going on and to go back. So that's kind of the things that we were looking at when we were looking at that, not necessarily approving something from an attorney's standpoint, but just to get us to that level, which is why we said business law instead of, attorney type, so. Does that make no? You still don't like it?
It does, but even if you had an attorney in there, I still think that the county attorney's office should be in charge of all legal advice.
Yeah, but this is just drafting it. Maybe just rewrite, give me an idea of a sentence that you think would be better suited for the things that I just said.
Okay.
Those type things. I've just tried to make it knowing what we have to do.
Yeah, cause I just, even as a finance director, I'm doing this.
And I do it. I mean, all the EEOC cases are legal cases, and I have to review every one of those and examine them myself.
Melissa's
That's
doing
And
it.
create the legal
Melissa's
stuff, and
doing
then I put it on Jim Cope's office and say, this is what all I've done, what am I missing or whatever. And then he does the final
And
draft.
drafting those
sends out.
documents is a huge time consuming.
Huge. Well, it is for
For
me. I
him,
mean,
you know,
one
to-
EEOC
yeah.
charge will take me.
And that's gonna cost us, as far as legal fees, even more money, you know, cause they're gonna spend an hour or two.
If they get it final, and then they can just read and
extra.
review it, yeah, it does help.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we can take this home, look at it, and the 20th, have anything, any comments, thoughts back to Sonia about that?
My phone number, my mailing address, and my email on there.
Well, I think y'all done a good job.
Absolutely.
It was a book.
This was largely prepared by Sonia and Lisa, and Mr. Jordan was involved in this. I have reviewed it after they prepared some of these things and made comments, and they've made changes.
And also, the Neighborhood Alliance sent us some
Yes.
suggestions and
Good.
ideas, and they assisted with that, Susan and Steve.
Whoever's been involved in it, they did a good job, and thank you for everybody that,
I've already told them a little humor here. The only thing they didn't do here is issue a Superman.
Exactly.
Well, there's still time.
That'll come at the confirmation.
Right now, you got the Superman cape, so you know.
And Batman.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, on the other job demands, you got where he can take out the trash and general cleaning, but he
Hey.
can't sweep and mop.
We all have to clean, we all have
What
to
it
do our part.
says you can't sweep and mop.
What?
Well, we do that too. We have
What
to-
it says he can't, or she can't, sweeping and mopping, no.
That was a typo, because I had it all in the.
Good thing I saw
We
that.
do a little bit of everything.
I got that at my house too. I don't sweep them up.
No, they don't have to crawl or
Can I have a
jump.
Yeah,
copy of
they're not
that?
crawling, jumping, lying on their back.
But they can
Lionel's
twist
coming.
and shout.
They can
They can
twist.
twist.
There's a song like it.
I will look at that again.
Very good.
All righty. Next, we need to reschedule the September meeting. We have two recommended dates for Ms. Taylor that are, I think these are the only two dates that are available. Either Thursday, August 30th, or Wednesday, September 5th.
Now, remember, for any of you horse show fans, the horse show's going on that week, right?
30.
We can meet both days then, if that's the case. Don't tell my wife I said that.
What day is the 5th on?
When does it start?
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
It
Okay.
start the 31st.
Thursday,
No
August
idea.
30th, or Wednesday, the 5th, yeah.
Some people are really into it,
Some
yeah.
people are really into it.
Well, let me ask this question. I guess we're gonna be sitting in a committee process. Steering
Yes.
committee,
There's also a reminder, everybody.
Yeah,
that
that's right.
We'll reappoint the steering committee at our August 16th.
so will the 30th give us enough time? It should, we'll meet, that's 2 weeks, isn't it?
Depends on who's on it, who the chairperson is.
Yeah.
It should.
Either day.
I-
It should.
The 30th is fine with me, I mean, cause I know the 5th is a Wednesday, church night stuff, people, and the 30th is fine with me.
August 30th, okay with everybody?
I'm still here, I'll be
We will make our next, do we need a motion? We have a motion. No, we don't need a motion.
Which one did you say?
August 30th will be
August
our next steering committee meeting. Again, full commission will appoint the steering committee meeting on August 16th. And I guess I just want to say thank you for allowing me to serve another year as chairman. And it's been a pleasure.
Chairman of the commission, Chairman Pro Tem, that's all in the next month in September then?
Chairman Pro Tem.
Chairman Pro Tem's in
Maybe this
September.
month.
I think
September.
Yes.
September.
September.
Okay.
Okay.
And Chaplain, September.
And Chaplain, that's right. Okay. All right.
No, you're giving this to
All right.
every
Any other
commissioner.
business?
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna
Mr.
have-
Black?
I'd just like to commend our beer board for the stance they took on it, and synthetic drug deal there, and, I know, I heard through the grapevine there, Smyrna, I guess the county took their lead, and I don't know what kind of position that Murfreesboro's taking, and also Laverne. I don't know if we should maybe send a resolution to the city of Murfreesboro and maybe Laverne, asking them to follow us. I don't know if that'd be at a line or.
I would hope that they would take our lead. But as far as us, I think us trying to tell them what to do, I don't know if they're gonna listen to us, but, I mean, I'd hope they would take our lead on that. I mean, I agree with you that they need to be doing it, but I don't know if they.
Well,
I don't
that's
mind
my
asking
thought.
them though.
That was just my thought on it.
And make a motion, well, I'll second it.
I'll make that motion.
Put it
I'll
out there.
second it.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion on the motion?
So we're just sending to Laverne and,
City of Murfreesboro,
City of
I think
Murfreesboro.
Smyrna is already,
actually, they did it first, I think,
Right,
then the county
right.
came in there behind. Yeah.
I think that's okay. Maybe crafted such that if they have stores in their jurisdictions that are found to be illegally selling those synthetic drugs, and we encourage them to follow through and take action with respect to their beer permits. That's basically what it is. I don't know when they had this last sting operation where all the stores were located.
I think they,
seems
I
all.
think they were all in, out in the rural area, wasn't it?
Right.
I don't know, were there any in Murfreesboro?
No,
I don't think they were.
So if they weren't, they haven't had an opportunity, maybe, that's what I'm
Right.
suggesting, so.
But that first sting, there were in Murfreesboro.
They were?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that might have been
Which
before
one?
they passed the law too.
I think it was.
Which one?
I think the very first sting they had like a year ago,
Okay.
there was several in Murfreesboro, because the guy that they wrote the article about,
Right.
I think he had purchased them in town.
Was that right?
But they didn't put any teeth into this law until this last legislative session. When they added a whole list of more specific compounds, you might say, that were classified as synthetic drugs. It was pretty broad in general, and it was hard to identify who had actually broken the law.
I think it was some talk about maybe a loophole that these store owners was doing, and when they got busted, they would give up and
turn the name over to their
turn it
family
over,
member.
and they fall right back into business. Is it?
There's still a loophole, I think.
Is it anything would that be up to state, or?
The state would have to go in and change the law, and.
That's up to the beer board. They have to
Yeah.
submit their credentials, the ownership of this, so, I mean, you can see through all that stuff, and the beer board can make a reasonable decision if they so choose.
To send it to
Yeah, I mean,
us,
they-
send it to the steering, or they
No,
could
that's
send it
anywhere. They can take their own action. They can determine the flow of ownership. You have to submit that to the beer board when you apply for a beer license.
What if we were to craft this resolution in such a way, and I didn't make the motion in a second, but in such a way to commend the municipalities and county who has publicly taken a stance and done some things, but also to
Request.
everybody,
Yeah.
all
Encourage.
municipalities and the
Encourage
county,
request.
to continue a united front to fight this dreadful thing.
I think encouraging them, I mean,
That's all we can do anyway.
That's all we can do.
We
We
Right.
can't
we
tell
did
them.
one sting, that's great,
Yeah.
Sure,
but that's not the end. We need to continue to
absolutely.
do it, so. We did encourage those that have it, and encourage those that have to keep on.
We're here to help them.
I'm gonna tell you something, while we're on talking about drug stuff, I was watching the school board meeting the other day, and the coach over at Siegel, which his son was one that, his wife come up here and spoke to, the county commission, I wanna commend that coach for bringing forth in the school board for actually studying it, where the people have extracurricular activities, playing sports, band, other things, they're looking at drug testing. And, you know, if we can save one of those kids through something like that to keep them from going out here and doing that, where they're making the right choices and trying to be an example, you know, I commend them for looking at that. You know, I watched that and I was proud of that coach and I was proud of the school board for, you know, moving and talking and doing that even further, so.
Okay.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Is his motion gonna be your suggestion?
Suggestion
Jack?
to the city of Murfreesboro.
Suggestion to commend the municipalities that took a stand and, request the other municipalities and the county to continue with the United Front. Is that your motion?
That's my motion.
I think instead of requesting, what do you think about encouraging?
Okay.
Encourage, or whatever.
I mean,
As long as they,
Kind of the same, and, yeah.
right.
All right. Any other business? We are adjourned.